Yo, what's going on, guys? Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. Hope everyone's enjoying their work week this week. We definitely have some news today. We're going to talk about Jalen Hurts in the top 100 list. And when I think about it, which we did see that already, I want to talk about Nakobe Dean and that ankle injury. How serious is it? Is this more something to worry about? And to really go into Myles, Jack, really the linebacker core in general as a group and what this thing is going to look like going forward. So let's get straight into all the news. What is going on, guys? Hope it's had a fantastic day today, and we have some news from the Philadelphia Eagles. A few things I want to talk about here. And number one, we're going to be talking about mostly linebackers today because I think obviously it's the weakest position, really of the whole entire team. Besides taking special teams out of it, need a lot there. But Nakobe Dean is an interesting one here. Now, Nick Sirianni had a lot to say the other day. I think it was before. I don't know if it was before or after. Probably before the open practice the other day. Said a lot of nice things. Obviously, this ankle injury has kept Nakobe Dean out a few days already, and hopefully it's not as serious. Day to day means he's going to miss a little bit of time, so day to day is not a great thing to hear, but it's still in the early process. I mean, we're coming close to 6-7 days. I forgot how many, 6 days until a preseason game, August 12th against Baltimore in Baltimore. So should be fun. Now, Nick Sirianni said this the other day. He said, I feel really good about Nakobe. Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni said prior to Sunday's open practice, he says when he was out there, he was doing a nice job running the defense, being in position to make plays, had a really big splash play, knocking the ball out, and has done a really good job so far as in coverage and just being around the football and knowing what to do. Says, so really pleased with where Nakobe is right now. Now, if you guys remember, Sean Desai did say that they literally threw everything at Nakobe Dean. Like, Sean Desai threw everything at him. They threw him in the deep end, and that's perfectly fine because, to be a middle linebacker, you got a big role there. You're the quarterback of the defense and gotta make the call outs and start the communication. So the communication will end up going around. So, gotta see Nakobe Dean really work out this year because this ankle injury it sucks because we really can't afford him this time. What really sucks about this whole situation is, man, I wish Nakobe Dean played some games last year. That's the one thing. I feel like you kind of redshirt him. I understand he played some special teams. I understand that he got into some games. He hasn't even played a full quarter of football yet. I don't even think so. Okay, he hasn't played a full game. I wasn't a big fan. TJ Edwards was a solid player, but Kaiser White just didn't really like him too much, and I thought Nakobe Dean should have had more of an opportunity. He had too many players in front of him that they just didn't want to. They signed Kaiser White. They already had TJ Edwards here, so they didn't want to do too much to him. So they had him in the linebacker room with Nick Rallis last year. He was like a sponge in that room, really gathering all the information and really learning. So my gut feeling says that Nakobe Dean's going to have a big year this year. I mean, he's a third-round pick. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He's probably pissed off and wants to prove to the league what he could do, and I really hope he does work out. I have high hopes for him and all the support in the world, but the last thing we need for him to do is be missing time right now. Obviously, it's not his fault. Injuries happen. It is what it is. Still in the early process right now. By joint practices, I would like him to be back, and I think he will be back. But I hope that because they signed 2 linebackers, I hope it doesn't mean that this ankle injury is more serious than what it is. Kind of like what they did last year when they signed Linval Joseph and Ndamukong Suh for the Jordan Davis injury. And it's great that they added more depth, so I can't really complain about it at all. But when it comes to this linebacker core, before open practice, before 2 linebackers were signed, Nakobe Dean's out, and I understand Christian Ellis is like the head turn of camp, is getting all this attention, but like I got to see it with my own 2 eyes. You know what I mean? Like, I'll believe all the hype. Trust me, there has been a lot of players that have gone through Eagles training camp and have came out like looking like they're going to be the next best thing, okay? That they were going to get a yellow jacket. I mean, that's how good some players do look. We've had players like that over the years that look really good in camp, and then They just a no-show during the regular season. And I hope that, Christian Ellis is not one of those players. But, at least with Nakobe being out, it's going to give a lot more guys opportunity. And I guess the Eagles felt like they really had to go out and really be a little aggressive here. Like I said, almost the same move as they did with Adamakin Suh and Linval Joseph, bringing those two guys in and telling Jonathan Gannon, now you have no excuses. You're bringing in two veterans. That's what you're going to do. And I think what's interesting about even signing Zach Cunningham, a big time vet at, 28 years old, you have Myles Jack is an interesting one because even, being with the Ravens as a second round pick, I know he had knee issues coming out of the draft, which, probably should have been a first round pick, if he didn't have those knee issues, but played good. But the injuries start to pile up a little bit. Even when he had the 1-year deal with the Steelers last year, he couldn't keep himself off the injury report. he just couldn't. I think the first game he played like 87% of the snaps, and then he played like 1/3 of the snaps in a lot of games where he would have like 8 snaps against the Ravens, a few snaps against this team. He's always been lingering on the injury report where he was dinged up too much last year. And hopefully with the Philadelphia Eagles, I think they've done a good job health-wise with a lot of these players, especially Rashad Penny as well, coming off of only playing 5 games last year and being lighter on his feet and feeling a lot better. Hopefully with Myles Jack, you're going to get a better player that's going to revive his career a little bit here. Because to be honest with you, the Eagles went into this 2023 offseason saying Nakobe Dean's our starting linebacker, and you knew that they really weren't going to put too much money into that position. Now, getting Zach Cunningham and getting Myles Jack, I think both of their contracts go up to $2.5 million or something like that. I don't know if that's combined or separate. The cost, there was nothing wrong with the contracts or anything like that. Those are easy. They're free agents. They're out there. But now adding more competition to this room is what I really wanted. Before Sunday, I was really panicking. Now I feel a little bit more comfortable. Now you have 2 veterans in here now. And I think Myles Jack can be a nice role player for this defense. I think he shoots the gap really well. I think he's one of the best tacklers, to be honest. He only has a 10% missed tackle rate. See him make tackles. It makes great, fantastic tackles. Coverage wise, we'll see what he could do. I think they'll use him as a hybrid type guy where they might move him around a little bit. Who knows how they're going to use him? I don't know. But I feel like if you have a player that's walking into this competition right now, watch out. And I think both of these guys could make it at this point between Zach Cunningham and Myles. I think both of these guys can actually make this team if the linebacker core is that bad. And Patrick Johnson's hurt, so he's out of the mix. So on top of Nakobe Dean with the ankle, you already have Patrick Johnson going that plays outside linebacker and defensive end. Has the calf injury, going to miss some time. And Davion Taylor ended up getting released, former 3rd-round pick from the Eagles. So, and he's just hasn't been healthy enough to even compete or really have a chance to do much of anything. So they let go of him. So they felt like they really needed to bring in 2 guys, 2 veterans. Now, is Nakobe Dean's injury a part of why they signed 2 guys? Probably not. I mean, they definitely, I think part of it is you already lost Patrick Johnson. You already lost Nakobe Dean for, a few days or maybe a week. I don't know, but can't afford more days from Nakobe Dean. But Myles Jack has a huge opportunity here to really, like I said, revive himself and get things going with this team. And I'm very excited for it, and I can't wait for it. I feel a little bit more comfortable now, at least at safety, even though it might be a weak position right now because there's been a lot of flip-flopping around. At least there's a lot of bodies there to compete with. So I have no issue with it. With a linebacker, I felt like there was just not enough bodies there. Eagles put no money into this position. Okay. Nakobe Dean should have had a lot of playing time. Should have had a lot of playing time last year, and I think getting playing time now and actually being out from this ankle injury now, like I said, it's going to give more guys opportunity. Myles Jack especially. So figure out they'll get a lot of reps during joint practice. They'll get a lot of reps during preseason, hopefully. I mean, we'll get to see these guys maybe, and see how they do. But they were worked out before the open practice that day. And then obviously, I don't know if they're practicing. By the time you watch this, practice will probably be over or just starting by that time because this is getting done early. So hopefully, Myles Jack and Zach Cunningham just need to know the terminology so they can practice and they can actually do stuff. They just worked out for the team, so there's not much they could do the first day except hang out and, they're both signed. So Much more on Myles Jack. Just got to stay healthy and got to linger off of that injury report, because it's just getting to a point where that's why the Steelers didn't re-sign him. There was a chance early in the season they might have done it, but they want to see more from him throughout the year. And like I said, the injury concerns have really, made him not a great player. I mean, some injuries definitely put your statistics down, and they put your skill level down, and sometimes that just happens. Now with Philadelphia, their health department, all that great stuff, I think everything combined, I think there's a lot of high praise for Myles Jack, and I have very high praise for this whole entire linebacker core now for the competition that we're going to get. So I know I repeat a couple things, but a couple times, but I just think it's important, the emphasis on this position in general. We really need to pay a safety sooner or later, because it's just getting to the point where they're going to have no choice in a few years but to pay somebody, because you can't have a new linebacker core every single year. I mean, they could, but now with Nakobe Dean with 3 more years left on his deal, obviously this year, next year, and the year after that, and then seeing what can progress behind him, because the depth was just god awful. Sean Bradley, love his energy, but guy's just a pure special teamer. And there's really nothing else. We're really relying on Ellis, this big camp standout that I really hope, and trust me, a lot of guys have gone through camp a million times. Okay, a lot of successful guys go through camp and can't do a damn thing in the regular season. So I'm hoping this linebacker core is going to get enough, even with Nakobe Dean being out and then coming back in, we're going to hopefully see some, Desai will see what nice combinations they can have. Don't forget about Nolan Smith either. I understand that he's played off the ball linebacker, and they'll line him up as an outside linebacker. You know what I mean? So they'll do a lot with him. I think Nolan Smith is heavily involved in the linebacker core as well, and that's like another plan that they have behind their back that they're not showing too much of what Nolan Smith is going to do, but a big part of the plan going forward. So I definitely agree with that. Now, third, I want to go over Jalen Hurts, the top 100 list. Okay, now look, just like schedules to our games every year when the schedule comes out for the Eagles and everybody's doing schedule reviews. I don't like doing schedule reviews. I just think they're very unrealistic, because things can happen during the season, and we're just thinking off the top of our heads. When it comes to the top 100 list, I'm not really even a big fan of that. And obviously, the only person I would like to see on this list is the one person we're talking about here. It's your quarterback in Jalen Hurts. I'm actually very happy that he is finally getting recognized, where this guy was unranked on this list last year. Guy wasn't even on the list last year prior. Okay. And now is the third best player going into this season. All right. And it's great. You know what I mean? I know everyone's going to nitpick and say he's the number one player. Of course, it's going to go to the Golden Boy. I understand, Patrick Mahomes is what he is, and trust me, I'm sick to my stomach and want to puke out of my friggin' mouth every time I see him holding the damn trophy up. It's just getting ridiculous at this point. But nice to see that Jalen Hurts is getting the respect from the players, as much as I don't respect the players for I don't know, because some of these lists can be a little ridiculous. I think it's a popularity contest sometimes, but I think being unranked the year prior and now being ranked on this list as the third best player, in the year, really shows everyone sees the work ethic, everyone sees how hard he pushes, and just where he came from to now. I mean, even from 21 and to 22, just ridiculous, like 2 totally different seasons. And you can't go off a quarterback from 1 year. I don't even count 2020 as his first year, because he only played 4 to 5 games and he was thrown into the fire. You know what I mean? So I can't even count 2020. I can count 21 and 22 as really as a pure starter, 2 years, and already made a Super Bowl already won an NFC Championship game. So I think there's more to come here. I mean, you have a really, really weak NFC this year. The NFC East might be the best division in football, and Jalen Hurts is, I think, the best NFC quarterback right now, and it shows. There's no doubt. Every receiver, every tight end, every player wants to play for him. Even defensive players want to be a part of this, that sign to Philadelphia, because they want to be a part of this culture and be a part of Jalen Hurts, even though they don't play on the same side of the football, to play with him and be on the same team as him and be a part of this whole entire thing is a great thing, So like I said, it's always a popularity contest sometimes with these top 100 lists, but if there's one person I really want to make it, it was Jalen Hurts, and I think he deserves it. The job's not done yet. We still have a lot to do. We still got years and years of him being on this team to see what is going to happen and how many more Super Bowls we're going to win. And hopefully this year is another year to get some redemption. And I understand it's very hard to get back to the Super Bowl, but Nick is really trying to keep this thing from going inside, going down under. A lot of teams lose a lot of players to contracts, coaching changes because of losing Super Bowls. A lot of things happen. This team has barely changed besides our defense a little bit. I think we got better on defense. I think we got better on defense. We got better at coordinator. And, like I said, we have to see this thing, the whole thing unveil. Brian Johnson, I really don't have a big issue with going into this year. I think that they're going to really expand this playbook even more and add that third elemental thing to this offense, which is the passing game with these running backs. And Jalen Hurts is going to have everything at his disposal this year to really have a fantastic year. So I was really happy about that. But other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. We talked about Nakobe Dean, how serious the ankle is. Are you worried about him, and how do you think he will play this year? Obviously, Myles Jack in general. What's the one thing you like about Myles Jack, and what are you worried about this linebacker core in general? I think that's really interesting. And what do you guys think about the top 100 list with Jalen Hurts being number 3? I know a lot of fans will probably be happy, or a lot of people will be nitpicky and say he should be number 1, but obviously he didn't win the Super Bowl, so I get it. Probably would have helped his case for number 1 most likely. But very excited to see this quarterback play fine. The first year Jalen Hurts is playing under a long-term contract, and as our future quarterback. So, all right, you guys have a fantastic day. I'll see you guys on the next one. Enjoy it. Shakes, what up, follow. Peace out, guys. Peace.